I did not hit her. It's not true. It's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. The Disaster Artist, released in 2017 and is directed by James Franco, who has also directed such films like As I Lie Dying, Child of God, The Dubious Battle, and The Pretenders. And this film is starring Dave Franco, Seth Rogen, Alison Brie, Ari Grainer, Josh Hutcherson, Jackie Weaver, maybe not Zac Efron as Chris R, and James Franco playing the legendary role of Tommy Wiseau. And the reason why we're talking about The Disaster Artist today is because it was a PayPal recommendation and donation from one of my big contributors on this channel, Dr. Camp. This is probably the most cohesive and well put together film that you've recommended for me what's starting donating for this channel, so thank you for taking a turn for the better, I guess. Or maybe not, because a lot of those films that you have recommended have been quite hilarious, and I go back and watch them all the time, actually, so if you want to keep doing that, please do. I love the shit that you give me. Greg Sestero is a struggling actor in San Francisco who is trying to find his voice and trying to break into the business. The problem, though, is that he lacks conviction and lacks the confidence to become a film actor. But one night in an acting class, interesting performance of A Streetcar Named Desire by this man named Tommy. And after Greg asks Tommy for advice, Tommy takes Greg under his wing and the two start becoming best friends. However, they're both still struggling to break into the acting business, so the two decide to make their own movie to prove every producer in Hollywood and all around the world wrong. And that movie that they made became a legendary film that is usually hailed as the worst film ever made, called The Room, which I have reviewed on my channel before. This was years ago. It was actually early on. I want to say it was in like the 50s range of all of the movie reviews that I've done. I don't think you will appreciate this movie to its fullest if you don't watch The Room first. You need to watch The Room to know the idiocracy, the sheer shock value that that film is of, oh my god, someone paid money to make this, got people to make this, and thought that it was going to break boundaries and win awards and win Oscars and wow. And the film only gained a cult following and notoriety after, for April Fool's Day, Adult Swim started playing The Room on their channel all day long, and people were like, what the hell is this? And the more you watch it, and the more you watch it, and the more you watch it, it becomes more and more hilarious and must-watch viewing. I've had the pleasure of watching The Room with a theater audience, which makes the experience that much better. I first watched the film The Room in my home by myself, and I was confused. I wasn't sure what I was watching. But seeing it with a bunch of people and hearing everyone else in the theater go, what? What? What is happening? Makes it one of the most hilarious experiences you've ever had in the theater. Go watch that movie before you see this. Here you get to see a dramatization of the creation and what drove these two people to make whatever that was. I mean, it wasn't a movie, but it's something. And James Franco, I think, does a pretty commendable job as Tommy Wiseau. At first, it does feel like it is an impersonation, and Wiseau is himself is a character that you kind of just have to impersonate. Because it's just so, his accent, everything is so iconic that at first you have to get used to James Franco doing it. And so at first you feel like it is an impersonation. But then as the film goes along, you can see behind the accent, you can see behind the face and the sunglasses and the shades to this lonely, kind of broken down person just wanting friendship. That's the big reason why he made The Room. It's because he was friends with Greg, and both of them were struggling. Both of them want to be actors, and Tommy didn't want to be abandoned by anyone again. That's neither confirm nor deny that he was abandoned earlier on in his life. But in order for them to stay together and to stay friends and for him to just have a friend, he says, okay, let's make this movie. That way I can get to be around you. Well, he doesn't technically say it. He says it between the lines. You can tell why he's making this movie. And there is something commendable about how these two go about making this terrible film. You can go to audition after audition after audition and go to acting classes, walk up to producers on the street, beg them, please cast me. All I want to do is perform. I love the movies. I want to be a part of the movies. But if any one of those people running those sessions take one look at you and say, no, I don't like how you look, or no, you have this evilish vibe about you, and that's not what I'm looking for this movie. You get stereotyped and you get typecast as an actor, and it's very disheartening waiting around for that one role that everyone sees you as to come around. So for them to say fuck you to the industry and say, no, I want to be the hero of my story, so you know what? I'm going to fund my own movie so I can be the hero of my story. Fuck you, Hollywood, and fuck you, producers. There's something very commendable about that. How Tommy goes about paying for The Room is still a mystery to this day. You can only assume, though, that it's through illegal activities, and that's what Greg touched on in the book a lot. He had all these theories and kept asking, where's the money coming from? And he would never get a straight answer. I mean, there are recordings on YouTube of Tommy Wiseau in commercials dressed as Shakespeare selling, I want to say, like sports clothing or like a sports store. I'm not sure. You have to look it up. Look up Tommy Wiseau Shakespeare, To Be or Not to Be. These commercials are incredible.
To be or not to be? That is the question.
And then the parts of this movie that deal with the actual making of The Room are actually pretty accurate from the book, or at least the recollection from the book of Greg remembering how it was shooting this movie. So it's commendable that you have aspirations to do it, and to go against the system and say fuck you to the system. But there are also certain things that you really should do when you're making a movie. Like, if you're doing a sex scene, it should probably be a closed set, not so that everyone is there watching the thing. Or if you're shooting an alley scene and you have a set erected of an alley, when that set looks exactly like the alley that is actually outside in the actual alleyway, you should probably just shoot outside.
This set of the alleyway looks exactly like the real alleyway.
That's right.
Well, why don't we just shoot in the real alleyway?
Because it's a real Hollywood movie.
No, yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
And Wiseau also makes the amazing decision to shoot this film both on film and digitally at the same time, with both different cameras right next to each other. God, this movie is great at showing just how insane The Room is, and just this whole experience and who these people are. Ugh, God, I enjoy this movie a lot. And probably the person I relate to the most is Seth Rogen, who plays the script supervisor on the set of The Room. Him just being there and asking what seems to be like the obvious questions. I'm that character. I am that person. I'm like, why are we shooting here when this alley is right out there? Why don't we just shoot it there? No, it's big Hollywood movie. We need a movie set. It's big Hollywood. And he's not in any position to deny him because he's not the director. So Seth Rogen just goes, okay. The 128 takes for the one line, I did not hit her, it's not true, it's bullshit, I did not hit her, I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. I read it in the book. I think it's one of the first things in the book. It is amazing to read about. It's amazing to see in this film. The first trailer for this film was just that scene. That is how ridiculous this whole process was. And Dave Franco does a pretty good job at portraying Greg, this struggling actor who's trying to do everything the right way, but is so enamored with Wiseau and how he's able to brainwash or seduce you into thinking the way that he's thinking. Dave Franco does a great job of just showing how weak-willed this character of Greg really is, and how much of an enabler he is, because he's always there right next to Tommy, and Tommy throws out this crazy, wild idea, and Greg is right there just throwing up his arms saying, like, yep, okay, let's do it. And of course they have great chemistry. They're brothers, so they're gonna have that chemistry, and it plays off beautifully here. The only thing that bothers me about this movie is the Hollywoodified ending of how the actual screening of The Room turned out. This film would have you believe that immediately, right away, at the first screening of this movie, everyone loved this thing. Throughout watching it, everyone was like, this is bad. Like, this is really bad. And then everyone starts chuckling and thinking, oh, this is a hilarious comedy. This is the most amazing thing I've ever seen. That did not happen. It took a while for this film to get a wide audience in this country and then all around the world. It did not happen opening night like this film would have you believe. But I get it, it's a dramatization of this story, and you have to kind of see what happened to these characters and this film, this project. So I understand why that change was made. I just want people to know out there that no, it took several months, several years for this film to gain notoriety and to gain popularity. I enjoy this movie a lot, and I enjoy the story of two people just trying to achieve their dream, and when they're being told no and no and no all the time, it's daunting, and it can weigh you down a lot. So for them to say, you know what, we're going to do it our own way, and we're going to prove everyone else wrong, which they kind of do and they kind of don't. Like, they make a terrible movie, but within that terribleness, they actually become popular and make it and break it into the business. So it's, God, the Room is so freaking weird. But I think to enjoy this film the fullest, you do need to actually see the movie The Room. So if you're gonna watch this, watch The Room first, then come here and watch this movie. That way you can just have several hours of looking at Tommy Wiseau's ass to this Rose song or whatever, and hearing him laugh at terrible stories from Mark in the movie, and playing football, and oh god, it's such a great time. I'm gonna give The Disaster Artist 4 out of 5 Blu-rays, but also in honor of why Dr. Camp recommended this movie, I'm also gonna give it 5 out of 5 mammograms.
I got the results of the test back. I definitely have breast cancer.
So guys, if you've seen The Disaster Artist, what did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across it because of my review, then comment below, let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you the next time I release my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.